joy culture becomes a ripple effect that cannot be ignored. I absolutely love that because most of us in our own businesses and businesses we've been involved in, whether you worked with a partner or even in masterminds, most of the businesses we've been around don't even think about joy as a culture. Most of them don't even think about their culture until it bites them in the ass.
You can find so much joy in just saying, who am I now? Where do I want to go? How am I going to get there? It is that simple.
I'm okay if this works out or if it doesn't. I'm okay if you like me or if you don't. I'd rather you like me. I'd rather it work out, but I'm okay either way. Here at the Joy Experiment, women create success that feels as good inside as it looks on the outside. Through real conversations, stories, and practical embodiment, you'll reconnect with your values, your energy, and your peace. The Joy Experiment is where success and soul finally meet. Join us weekly for this and more. Hi, Jen. Welcome to the Joy Experiment podcast.
Thank you so much, Roberta. I am really looking forward to our conversation today. Thank you so much for having me and welcoming me to your community.
Yeah. Jen Gomez is the Joyful Strategist. And I think we got introduced on LinkedIn. And I was like, okay, she has joyful in her name. I have joy in my name. We should get to know each other.
Yes, so important.
Yeah, so I was looking through some of your stuff. I love to just have different discussion questions. And one of the things that really stuck out to me from your website and some of the things that you talk about is you have a statement, joy culture becomes a ripple effect that cannot be ignored. I absolutely love that because most of us in our own businesses and businesses we've been involved in, whether you worked with a partner or even in masterminds, most of the businesses we've been around don't even think about joy as a culture. Most of them don't even think about their culture until it bites them in the ass. And they're like, oh, we have a blame culture here. How did that happen? Or, you hear things like we want a culture of excellence, or we want a culture of customer service, but you rarely hear, I want everyone around me and in my sphere to feel the same joy that I'm feeling. So tell me what brought you to that wonderful statement.
Thank you. I'm so glad you brought that up. So I did not set out to be a speaker on joy. I did not set out to share more and go 7 layers deep or talk about culture or ripple effects of joy whatsoever. It kind of found me, if you will. Everyone said, Jen, you need to talk about how you use joy as a strategic advantage, how you are able to build a culture of joy within your organization, within your business, within your team, within your family. And it was really difficult to quantify that, Roberta. I'll be honest, because how do you teach something that you've done for so long and you've seen results with? And so I had to dig way, way back. And so my, origin story, as you call it, would be I was 18 and I had nothing. I had nowhere to live, no vehicle, I had literally nothing. And my best friend's parents took me in. And I just remember feeling an immense sense of gratitude for the little bit that I had. And I had to root myself in that gratitude. I had to root myself in the joy of life and breath and living, and nothing else mattered because I had nothing else. And so it was something that I had to teach myself at such a young age, that as I would interview and take these bold steps, and actually was a stage actor for years as well, because it brought me joy. I always said, okay, if I don't need material things, then what do I want to feel good doing? And I started to see a cause and effect happen. As I was doing the things that I loved to do, I could see how it was affecting other people. And as I grew in my leadership, really rooting myself, not in necessarily monetary results, or success comes inevitably, right? Goals are, we could go down a whole rabbit hole of goals and how we set goals, and the goal just moves. The goal line just moves all over and over. But to be able to root yourself in just this immense gratitude, this stable ground as a leader, it ripple effects throughout your culture. And they say, wait, I want to feel that good. I want to be that calm. Because what does the calm and the solid ground result in? It results in trust and influence. And so really this all started because people asked me, they said, Jen, please teach us to do what you've done and what you've created. And so about 2 years ago, that's when the Joyful Strategist was born.
That's fantastic. So I think of it as a state of being, the joyfulness,
Absolutely.
the appreciation, the gratitude. And I think from there, you just kind of attract what connects you to yourself more. I've been exploring connection quite a bit. I have a workshop coming up and we're talking about open for business energy. And I have just noticed so much how myself, I will say, I started the exact opposite, in complete disconnection. And I hate where I am. I have to get out of here. The best way I know how to do it is go somewhere and make money. Because if I have money, then I'll be safe. If I have money, I can do what I want. If I have money, I'll be independent and nobody can tell me what to do. And therefore I will be safe. Right. And so the exact opposite, like where you were rooting in and connecting to yourself, I was disconnecting from myself. And so I was always in some sort of strategy or some sort of goal that didn't matter if I liked it or not, if I was good at it or not. It was like, this person's doing this thing. It made them this amount of money. You need money so you can be safe, be free, feel good about yourself. So just do it. And it's such a different way. It's the normal way. Unfortunately, I feel
I was going to say, haven't we all done that? Because Roberta, as much as I like to paint this perfect picture of my life, there were so many times where I needed that safety feeling and I took a job or said yes to something. But it's having that intuitive moment to say, this isn't right. This is not bringing me joy. And then having the permission to say, I'm going to be okay if I don't do this. I'm going to be okay if I take another direction. So there were plenty of times where I too did that. And I think it's normal, but it's the moment where you can say, what am I doing? Like, why am I? And I had one of those moments about 2.5 years ago. I was working for an executive office and, for our governor here in Louisiana, and my contract ended. His second term ended, and I had a huge question mark of my future. And I was like, okay, the insane route is becoming an entrepreneur. Growing your own business, teaching people how to find more joy in their work and develop culture around joy, which is insane, crazy.
It sounds like frankly, it sounds like some white girl who's got enough money that she doesn't need anything. So here she goes on the joy strategy, right? You're like,
not the case. Not the case.
Here we go.
Mama was the breadwinner and I lost it all. I was like, let's start a business.
Cool.
And or I could have played it safe, and I could have, which I did. I was applying to other jobs. Roberta, I was like, I know I'm not going to show up as my best. I'm going to be secure financially. Mm-hmm. I'm going to have health insurance.
Yeah.
But I know I'm not going to show up as my best. I knew it. I knew that I wasn't going to show up as my best because I knew that I was not meant to do that. And so every single day that I operate this business, I root myself in gratitude, even if clients are late to pay or I get $5, $500,000. I'm grateful for all of it because in the reality, I get to do what I was meant to do. And you're going to know if it's the right time for the dream or if it's not the right time for the dream. For me, it was the right time.
Yeah. I think it's like every little road, twist and turn, whatever, at some point you can, like, it just kind of brings you back, whether you want to say it's the universe, God, source, whatever, or just your internal knowing will always just kind of drift you back over here.
Yeah, it's your purpose. Whether you want it or not, it's what you are meant to do and you're going to feel it, right? Even, again, there's this great book called Rebel, and he talks about how Graham Cochran is who writes it or who wrote it. And he talks about how we have these big dreams and sometimes it's just not the right time for the big dreams. So be aware of that. Sometimes, like, I wanted to start writing my book 2 years ago and never finished it. And I was like, wait, this isn't the right time. And so then I jumped back in this year and it's finally going to be launched this year. But the dream never died. It was still there. It just wasn't the right time.
I think too, once you I think it's our natural state. Like people say, oh, you have to develop joy. You have to develop gratitude. You have to work on this. They make it another job. It's not a job. Once we get to the bottom of ourselves, it's all there waiting on us.
Well, you know what I say? Joy is a verb. Joy is a verb. You have to choose it every single day. You have to open your scope of reality and say, how do I want to feel right now? I have this methodology that I use in my coaching. It's called the joy method. And it's just a cyclical methodology where it's reflect, align, commit. Reflect on who I am in this moment. Align with who I want to be or the goals that I want or what I want for my future to look like, what I want the next step to be. and then commit by taking the action. How am I going to get there? It's so simple, right? You can find so much joy in just saying, who am I now? Where do I want to go? How am I going to get there? It is that simple. And I don't think we ever really simplify it for ourselves enough. We just kind of stay in this chaos, chasing the next job, chasing the next paycheck, chasing the next title, which is great. Like, the people that I coach are such high performers. I'm like, I don't want you to stop performing high. I just want you to do it from a place that actually feels good. And I want you to understand why you're doing what you're doing. I have a client, he's on 17 different boards. And I'm like, why? Why are you on 17 different boards and working full time and a parent of 2 kids? Why? And he's like, well, I don't know. I just thought that's what you were supposed to do. I'm like, look, if you're running for political office and there is a through line behind it and it brings you so much joy and you can balance it and you're a master at time management, fine. But if not, take away some of those from your plate. You do not need to be on 17 boards just because you thought it was the right thing to do.
Yeah, it's definitely talk about cultures. We definitely live in a culture of busy. Busy equals important. How many things you've got going on equals important. How frazzled you are, how chaotic your life is, how whatever. People ask me now, oh, you're busy? I'm like, no. On purpose. Or sometimes I just say I'm as busy as I want to be. Because it's such I should do this. I should say yes to that. There could be that one thing, that one person, that one opportunity that you're missing out on, whatever. I mean, you can spend your whole life chasing that one opportunity that I should do this. I can't say no. I mean, women get into the people pleasing and all that kind of stuff too. But just stripping back down to what you were saying, like the simplicity of, okay, what do I really want? Okay, cool. How do I want to feel in this? Where is the joy in it for me? Is it in, how do I align this with my values? And then, okay, then what do I do? What do I need to do to get myself there?
Exactly. We don't slow down enough. Number 1, we don't give ourselves permission to not be busy. Number 2, we look at busy and productivity as being successful. And what I encourage my clients to do is take a really hard look at your calendar and is it in alignment with your core values and your goals? Because if it's not, then you need some massive boundaries in place. Massive boundaries. So many people don't have boundaries. They don't give themselves lunch breaks. So when we think about culture, when we think about the ripple effect, right, it really does start at the top. And that's why I love coaching people that are at the top, but not every person at the top wants to be coached. I mean, I'm sure we've seen a lot of them, right? They're like, I don't need coaching. I've done this. I've done that. If you don't think you need in your life, then you are not self-aware. Every single one of us needs growth in some kind of component, some arena, some area. Give it a chance. Give it, see where you could grow, see where you could connect with your staff, with your team, with yourself. Because being a lifelong learner, being somebody who's curious, being somebody who's open to finding more joy in their life, not for themselves, but for those that they're impacting, for those that they're inspiring. I mean, I think that's the point of life. It is to enjoy your life. And not again, just for yourself, but for the people that you're interacting with every single day. Like that's our purpose.
I will say this though, if you're not enjoying it, they certainly aren't going to.
Well, that's right. That's absolutely right.
There's such we have so many hard definitions, right? Like what you were saying earlier, this guy says, well, I'm supposed to, and that's why I did it. Right. And I find a lot of people will go, well, if I put my own joy first, I'm not supposed to do that. I'm supposed to serve. I'm supposed to do this. I'm supposed to do that. And like, I feel like we've broken the definition of what it means to take care of ourselves first or to find joy in ourselves first. It's not about telling everybody else their needs don't matter or you don't care what they think. I mean, people who are important to you, right? There's some people that you don't care what they think because you're just not interacting with them in such a way that it matters. But for those around you who matters and those like your teens, what you're building under you, if it does come from the top down, then yours need to be a priority. I feel like some people even use it as an excuse to not jump into the coaching they want or are afraid to get like, well, what happens if I do put my own joy first? Like, what will I lose? What will I have to give up? Who do I have to give up? People follow along. Well, my friends think I'm crazy if I say, nope, not busy this weekend. No plans. Like, or whatever, in the office. Hey, I'm leaving at 4, or I'm going to lunch, or I canceled all our meetings next week. We don't need them. Whatever it is that you're starting to boundary and priority for your own sanity. Yeah, you're so right that it goes top down. So, the whole mask on first.
Well, there's a lot of nuances in everything that you just said, right? I mean, you have to look at the bigger picture of what's going to be the best for the team. If you look at a high capacity leader, whether it's a business owner or in leadership in a corporation, you have to be 5 steps ahead. You have to be mitigating risk. You have to say, what's going to make this the best it can be? And sometimes it's removing yourself because you've been micromanaging a little bit too much, removing yourself because you're so worried that a plate's going to fall. If it does, you need to have so much self-trust that you know that your team is going to catch it, or that you will be able to pivot no matter what. Here's what's really interesting, Roberta. As we grow in our careers, be it business owner or in leadership, as we grow in our careers, the pressure increases, right?
Yes.
So does your fear. Your fear increases. I remember when I was a little girl, I would jump off of a high-rise diving board, do flips. I mean, I was a renegade. I was fearless. You cannot catch me on a high dive now. No way. I can barely even go on a roller coaster anymore. I'm there's so much fear there. But I think because I've had so much pressure, now I know so much more. Fear, if you've heard this before, fear is not fact. Fear is stories that we tell ourselves about the future that has not happened yet. So we are so riddled with fear, mixed with all of this pressure, that causes us not to be able to take quick, decisive action. And so when I think of joy, and that's this book that I'm writing is called Joy in the Chaos, it's how do you root yourself in the moment of chaos, no matter if you're a mom, if you're a business owner. Let's say you didn't have any clients this month. Oh my gosh. Let's say your calendar's overloaded. How can you take a moment, take a breath, regather yourself so that you can lead at a high level without being so drowned out by the stress and the pressure that's got going on. Now, when you can have that solid ground, when you can have that moment of no matter what happens, I'm going to be okay. Mm-hmm. What happens is you influence those around you. People trust you. They'll come to you because you can have this steadiness. You can have this joy. You can have this calm within you. And that brings people to you and says, okay, I trust this person. I want to follow this person. There's vision in this person. Now you get buy-in from your team. Now you can have better results within your team. So when I think of joy as a strategic advantage, it's on so many different levels, we need to be having this conversation, not just as a calm under pressure situation, but also in just brands and companies in general. It's which brand are you going to buy from? The one that works the best, or that works the best and makes you feel the best?
We usually buy from the one that makes you feel the best.
Correct.
Depending on what it all is. But yeah, what I've noticed is when you go back to that person, and I was that person who, the story, you're telling yourself the story, this is what's going to happen. So you're in fear, you have all this pressure. So now you're in some place you have to repeat what you just did. You have to perform. There's people counting on you, all those things. It's the story. And for me, it was my nervous system. They were so intertwined that I had to first separate out the stories and then learn to calm my nervous system. And now it's it's what I've been doing for the last year, is just expanding my nervous system in a different way, right? I can white knuckle anything. I had 25 years in mortgage sales. My freak out chaos level, holy cow, I can't believe that just happened. Nervous system is max, man. You will not find a better one. But my nervous system, that's everything's okay. There's no chaos here. We have time. You have plenty of time. You have everything you need. I woke up really calm this morning. I'm good. I can slow down, make a decision, decide if this is in my values, go to the things that I set as boundaries. That needed exercise and expansion and allowing for me to actually build the business I want to build in joy and staying in that calm, not giving into previous habit of, busy chaos. Wow, why isn't there 100 things going on here? because that's what I had trained my nervous system to look for. So that was kind of was a fun experience, I will say. And it's been really interesting to go for months now where it's okay. Everything's okay. It's not perfect. I'm not saying, I think there's a complete difference between wholeness and perfection. We're a little trained to look for perfection as opposed to I'm experiencing this, which I think is what you said kind of in the first few minutes of our conversation. Like, how do I want to experience this? That has helped me and my nervous system go, okay, I want to experience this.
Because you are in control of that. Nothing else are you in control of. You're in control of your thoughts, your words, your actions, and that's it. Your thoughts, your words, and your actions. So if we know that we're not in control of anything else, but our thoughts, our words, and our actions, which takes nervous system regulation, to be able to have the right thoughts, to be able to have the right words, to be able to take the right action. We also need clarity. So it sounds like you got massive clarity on what you wanted and what you didn't want anymore. And you created the space to be able to have the strategy implemented that you wanted to do. I've noticed a lot, when I first started my business, I was very into like business strategy. Love a business, love business strategy. You too. I was like, let's make you money, sister. Like, let's get in it. Yeah. And then I started seeing so many of my clients weren't getting results because they didn't have the nervous system capacity to be able to run the strategy that I knew was going to work. It had worked for me. It had worked for other people, but they just kept getting stuck. And so I ended up working so much on nervous system regulation, so much on capacity, so much on, okay, where do you really feel purpose in what we're doing? And also, do you even want to be doing this?
Right.
So one of my clients, she ended up dissolving half of her business and going back and working for another company full time. She was like, this is what brings me joy more than running a business and being an entrepreneur. So sometimes it's giving yourself permission to say, I can always come back to the business. I can always go back full time. I can do whatever I want. I'm in control of my life. And no one ever talks about that, ever.
That was the start of the whole thing for me. Like coming out of the mortgage business and everything, just being honest about it. But it had nothing to do with what I'm good at or how it made me money. It was like, what do I really want to be doing? And then that took me on the journey of just figuring it out and becoming open and clearing the way for what I really want to be doing, which is this. But it was that first initial look up and go, do you really even want to do this? And I was raised in an environment of nobody cares what you want. You need to do what you need to do. Like, okay. It's like at some point I'm like, I'm the adult here. I get to say what I want to do. I'm the adult here. That was kind of a funny realization. I think
you just
in my 40s.
You just brought up a really great point, though. You talked about you came from, which insinuates childhood, which then we correlate childhood with high performance. If you look at high performers, people that are driven, they had some kind of childhood trauma, like whether it be parents, family, relatives, friends, it could be at school. There's something that happened that pushed them into this high performance. And so, for example, I remember being bullied a lot as a kid. And I believe that me getting bullied as a kid mixed with, I think it's more of the bullying. I've been thinking about this a lot. Like, where do I get my drive, my high performance from? Because that was really a big struggle. It's like you can be this high performer person who's waking up at 5, going to bed I was a leader and I was running a sales business at the same time. And I had 2 kids and I was getting my master's in business. Like there was a moment in time where I was leaning in so hard to what brought me joy, but I was burning the heck out because it was so much. And I had to get real with myself of why am I like this? And it goes back to, you want to prove yourself. You want to prove yourself. You want to show that you can do it. But like, who's watching? Who's watching? What are you getting the awards for? What are you pushing yourself for? Why are you doing this? And so again, it was this real weird moment, Roberta, where I was fulfilled. I was very fulfilled. I was getting the awards. I was doing all the things. I was so happy. I was going to all the events, getting invited to all the things. I was like the it girl in our city. And yet I was not a great mom. I was not a great partner to my husband. And I didn't even realize it. That's the thing.
Time. I didn't have anything left.
But I didn't even realize it. Yeah. And it wasn't until everything got stripped away, right? So I had the governor's office ended. And then my sales job that I had, the company that I was under, it foreclosed. So literally everything was ripped away. That was about 2.5 years ago. And I had to make a decision I said, I don't want to live my life like this anymore. And I had to root myself in what are the core values. And it was almost like what it was when I was 18 again. Like you have nothing. You have nothing. So what do you want? I think sometimes we're so crowded with the things that we have that we don't, again, even know to give ourselves space, even know to give ourselves a moment of what do I want, even because we've got so much going on, we're barely keeping up. And we're like, oh, we're getting awards and we're doing all these things and we're blah, 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 you know? And it took me stopping to say, okay, like, what do I want? And just like you, I mean, it wasn't easy. I just was like, okay, what am I good at? What can I do? How can I build a business? And everyone thought I was insane and even would take me out to lunch and say, Jen, what are you doing? You have to put food on the table. Like, don't do this. Nobody's going to hire you. And y'all, if you have friends that are trying to become entrepreneurs, like, be real with them, but also support them. Yeah. That was not what I wanted to hear after making that big jump.
Right? Like, thanks that you're here now. I mean, if you trust yourself, like one of my favorite stories, like I heard this, the founder of Riviant, I always say this wrong, Riviant, the electric truck company. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. He and a couple of his college buddies wanted to start this company. It was his vision, his dream. And they tried the VC route and everybody was like, you guys don't have any money. You don't have any plan. Like, no. So he was smart enough that going to MIT for an engineering degree was the easiest next step for him. Like, cool. Easy for you. So off he goes. And he says he did not tell anyone what he wanted and why he was there. He's like, because I knew they would tell me I was wrong and that they would be giving me good advice. Because 1% of people survive it, that are able to do this. He's like, if I looked at everything on the table and anybody had said no to me, they would have been right. But he's like, I had it so in me and I trusted myself that it was like, if it works, if it doesn't work, I have to do this. So a question that Brene Brown throws out, that's the opposite of what would you do? Well, I won't say opposite, it's different. What would you do if you knew it couldn't fail, right? That's the sales question that we used to always get. And Brene says, what would you do that you want to do so much if it failed, it was okay, that you do it anyway? And then I was journaling the other day over some things here and there in my business, like just a little bit of fear here and there, trying to just journal this out, what's going on, getting in deeper, whatever. And the question came to me, what would you risk if you felt safe? If you always felt safe, what would you risk? And I think that goes back to what you say when you're like, I grounded myself in my gratitude. And I was like, hey, what do I got to lose? And then you have all these things that this job with the governor, this sales job, these awards, all these things. And it came back to, at the end of the day, what am I doing? What do I really want? I'm here again by myself. Do I feel safe enough to risk this? And then, of course, with your family saying, I need to go back and be with them the way I want to be. And I'm going to risk not being out there the way that society says that we should be, like I was before, because I'm safe in my family, or I want to be in these places. When I wrote that question out, I was going back and forth with ChatGPT, which is a lot of fun to have conversations with. Like I set some serious boundaries and we kind of go at it. I was like, wow, if when I feel safe and secure in myself and I trust myself, what I am willing to risk is very different. And that just kind of blew me away when I was integrating that, I guess I would say.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like you have an immense sense of self-trust, which is needed to take massive action and massive risky action, right? I trust myself that I will be okay no matter what happens. I trust myself that if I lost it all, I would still have the thing that matters most to me, which is my husband and my kids. I'm like, never die, ever.
I say that to my husband.
But I trust that this is fun. This is fun. I get to do something that I've wanted to do for a long time. I truly believe that an entrepreneur does not have to be a business owner. I believe that an entrepreneur can be in an office in a 9 to 5, working for somebody, working with a team. I believe that it's a state of curiosity and innovation, and you're able to maneuver and take risks in ways that people that are not entrepreneurial feel very, very scared, right? An entrepreneur has an immense sense of self-trust. And so I believe that is why I was able to make the jump and have it, although rocky, change my life, because I finally was able to have that freedom to trust myself, get curious, be innovative, all of those things that I had my whole life. But I really was able to spread my wings now as an entrepreneur. And I, as someone who works with both leaders and entrepreneurs, you can see I love that you talk about capacity, because I think capacity is so important. It's so important. We talk about like this capacity lid, that we are not used to going past that lid. And we have to remind ourselves, oh, I feel uncomfortable because I've never been here before. And I need to remind myself, I'm going to be okay. Let's expand that lid a little bit more, dream a little bit bigger, but also take the action to push the needle to get to that dream a little bit faster. We're not in control of when we accomplish the dream at all, but we're in control of what? Our thoughts, our words, and our actions. And in order to take those big action moves, we've got to work on the capacity work. So, while it all ties back into joy, right? It is work. That's why I say joy is a verb. It is not something that just happens every single day. It is something that you choose. It is something that you work toward. And now that I've found it, now that I understand it, and I help other people use it as an advantage, I mean, I am very, very, very protective of it, because I know that I am my best self when I am very protective of that best self. And so once you find that perfect little cadence, and it changes, it shifts, right? It's not the same person every single day, every single year, every single month. It will shift, be malleable. But once you find that space where you're like, it's like you're cozying into a little nook. You're like, this is it. This is my right boundaries. This is who I want to be. This is how I feel the best. This is how I am my best. I'm not in meetings all day back to back, or maybe I'm in meetings on just Tuesdays, and then I have Wednesdays to be business development. Whatever it is, you will create this expansion within yourself and show up in ways in the community, for your clients, for your family, in ways that you were never showing up before. My husband looked at me probably 6 months into the business. And of course, I'm like crying because I'm like, how am I going to make any money? I was making fine money, but I had a massive salary to compensate for.
Right.
It was a huge leap. And I was like, how am I going to make the money back? And he was like, honestly, Jen, you are happier than I've ever seen you before. Even though you're sitting on the floor crying right now. In general, you are happier than I've ever seen you before. And so, y'all, I just dug my heels in and I said, how can I make this work? And I just really worked on my offers, my value, the transformation that I was getting my clients, really packaging myself in a way that could, again, deliver massive amounts of value for my clients, but also not overload my calendar. And that balance was everything. And now I get to write my book.
Yeah. Very exciting. So I'm curious for you, because I've done this same kind of transition myself, but I'm curious for you, how did it feel? And like you're talking about expanding your capacity. So we know how to build offers, build value, do all that kind of thing in the business paradigm of market, ROI. It doesn't matter how you feel, do it 10x, all that stuff. That's like, if you just work harder, whatever, that's the main goal here, right? How did it feel, and how did you change or even grow into knowing that you wanted your offers to be created from joy? Like, okay, of course I need to pay these bills. That seems to always be the thing that people say, but Roberta, I need to pay my bills. Jen, I need to pay my bills. This is great. I'm glad you two are happy. Go braid each other's hair. I'm going to go pay my bills. So how did you make that, I would say, either emotional nervous system, spiritual, almost like, we're body, mind, and spirit. How did you make that shift in your thinking, in your spirit, in your nervous system, and even somatically? For me, it was a somatic experience as well, to be able to take that and put it over here with joy.
Yeah. So first, it was not overnight, I will say. When I first started, I was like, I can help anyone with anything. I just need to get money in the door. I have to do the thing, right? Like anything you need. I did put it under the coaching umbrella, but it was more like goal setting. I guess it was more goal setting, a little bit of event planning, but like more goal setting things, strategy. And I burned out. I burned out again. It was like right back to where I was before, where my calendar was out, just overloaded. This was probably at the end of the first year. I was running retreats. I was doing coaching. I was doing integrative consulting work. I was all over the place. I didn't really have any one thing I was coaching on. I just hit this wall again, Roberta. And I said, I don't want to do this anymore. Like, this was the whole point, that I didn't want to be on the hamster wheel. I wanted more ease. I wanted more flow. I wanted to enjoy my life. And so I said, okay, Jen, you got to oversimplify. We love to overcomplicate everything. Yes, we love to overcomplicate. We're like, but it can't.
It goes with the chaotic nervous system. It's like the handbag that matches that suit.
Yes, it can't be easy. It can't be that easy. Yes, it is. It is that easy. So I said, okay, what's my core values? What do I need to decide? Where do I need to go mentally, emotionally, physically, thoughts, words, actions? What do I need to do? Number one, design my winning week. Okay. No fear in mind at all. What do I want my week to look like? Number one, I want to make sure that I'm getting my fitness in. While I am not a fitness guru, I am not somebody who like even enjoys really working out. That post-workout feeling, the endorphins, the clarity I get, the innovation that comes from that. Again, when we're talking about our best selves, our most joyful selves, for me, it was important to get some fitness in. So I put that in my winning calendar first. I put my daycare. Gosh, my kids are so much older than daycare now. my carpool drop off. Okay. And then at the time, the carpool pickup. So carpool drop off in the morning, carpool pickup in the morning, my fitness classes, some date nights sprinkled in there. I do not want to work past 3:00. I do not want to start working until 9. I've got my fitness classes in there. Okay. How many workable hours do I have in a day? Now, I'm going to repeat that. Workable hours do I have in a day? Okay. So let's say I have 4 workable hours on a Monday, 2 workable hours on a Tuesday, 6 workable hours on whatever those workable hours are. Now I get to decide, do I want a full stacked working block, or do I want to see where I can have some space for living in my imagination, business development, sales goals, right? At about this time, you also need to start thinking about the revenue that you need to bring in to feel comfortable. So I knew that I needed to bring in a 6-figure income to feel comfortable, because again, when I left my other job, I was the breadwinner. I was making high 6 figures. And so I had to laterally move. I couldn't dip. And so when you say, okay, I know that I need to make this much to be comfortable, you have to decide what that number is. And then you see how many workable hours do you have in a week that you want to work. Okay. And then you do some math to say, okay, based on national averages, based on everything that I have, based on my winning week, this is how much I need to be charging for this value, for what I'm offering. Make sure that it's extremely tangible. Make sure that it's extremely valuable, tangible. It's getting your clients where they need to go. But that really changed my life, because then I was starting to actually charge my worth, get really intentional on the value that I was giving to people. And then it allowed me to have space in my day. So I wasn't where I was taking tons of clients on weekly. Now I take 10 clients on a quarter. And so I'm able to give them extremely high value at a higher price point, but I'm not stacked with 6 clients in one day, 6 clients another day, 6 clients another day, 6 clients another day.
So client 5 and 6 get like the frazzled version of you.
And that's just not fair.
Right.
And that's just not fair. So it's a little bit of, I don't want to call it selfishness because it's not for me. It's for the people that I'm serving. It's how can I be, it goes back to team culture. How can I be my best self? You look at some of the highest grossing entrepreneurs out there, they take over half of the year, maybe more, off. They leave. They go out. They are not in their business. And so really that's the goal is how can you over time, I'm actually reading a lot about this right now. Over time, if you are the face of your business, this is another component of like being your best self, bringing more joy to your business. If you are the face of your business, flipping it to where you're not the face of your business anymore, there's actually, you can be, but it's not about you. So instead of Roberta, let's say it's the joy queen. And everybody is going to become a joy queen. So now you can start stepping away from the business so that whenever you do have to interact with somebody, you're your best self. Because as your business scales, if you want your business to scale,
right,
you can only do so much.
Right.
And so how can you create a movement instead of it just being you as the brand?
To where I think that it's the guys from the Life is Good t-shirt company. They say your customers should co-author your brand. I loved it when I heard them say that. Like,
correct.
That is it right there. Because then they're telling you what they want.
Correct.
Then they're telling you, can you do another retreat for us? Can you write another book for me? Can you?
Correct.
You know? Correct.
You've got to listen to your audience. And so if you think about it, I'm such a unique person in the joy space because I want you to take over the world. I want you to make millions of dollars. Mm-hmm. I'm like, there's too many billionaires out there that
they're miserable.
are miserable or they're using their money for the wrong things. I'm like, I want to make you so much money, but doing it in a way that feels really good and feels sustainable and you're actually impacting the world in a positive way with that money. Because the more money we make, the more impact that we can make. And that's all there is.
I know I was on a podcast yesterday and the guy asked me some examples of people that people would know that are building their business in joy. And I'm like, oh boy, I got to sit down.
Jen Gomez.
Right. That's why you got to get your name out there. So we all know what that means, right? Because I can name some that you know right now that are definitely not building their business in joy. And at the end of the day, the evidence points to it, but we're told it's normal. And it might be normal in our culture, but it's certainly not natural because they end up ruining their marriages. They end up, kids are a mess. They end up with the end of their life. And you're like, wow, okay, well, he still got a couple $1 billion. God bless him. Right. And I'm like, not for me, but I also like that you're not disconnecting earning what you're worth in your business and whatever you want to from also being joyful. Because a lot of people think, okay, that's really good. You girls go join the ashram or, do your little book clubby thing and be joyful. The rest of us will be over here being adults. It's like, no, they're not mutually exclusive. In fact, one produces the other without producing burnout, overwhelm, you missing your kids. Like, how many people do you know? Like when I was in mortgage sales, how many of the loan officers and the owners of the businesses would be in tears going, my kids are like, Daddy, can you just lose the phone? Mom, like my best friend, her daughter had a little fake purse that she would pull her phone out of and she would talk to clients on her phone because that's all we ever did. And even when we were with I don't have children, but all the people around me, even when they were with their kids, like this was just the huge goal of the people around me were like, I'm earning a great income, but I'm missing everything. Or when I'm there, I'm not there, or I'm getting divorced or, whatever it goes through. Not that divorce is the most horrible thing in the world. Sometimes marriages end, sometimes relationships end, whatever. I think you know what I'm saying. I think when we come from that place of self-trust, of joy, it produces that curiosity. It produces innovation. You've got a culture now where the people around you feel like their best selves can come out. They're not hiding anything. They're there to help each other. And I think it's okay to say I'm being selfish. I'm being selfish because if I'm not where I want to be and in myself connected fully, then I'm only going to, as you did say, produce or create. I hate the word production. I'm over it. Only going to create partially what I could.
Yes. or you're going to overproduce, or you're going to overcompensate. You're going to live in this very inauthentic world. Even though you think you're being authentic, it's very inauthentic because you're so completely disconnected from yourself. You're doing action for other people's approval. And so there's so many things that I could say about, especially going back to I say something, phones down, head up, phones down, head up. Like, see, I'm going to say this over and over and over. I am not telling you to quit your job. I am not telling you to stop performing high. I am not telling you to not pick up the phone when your top client calls. I'm telling you to be intentional of what's going to happen as a ripple effect, the good and the bad. I have another client. He said the other day, his wife and his son were on a trip, and he was walking the LSU lakes. We have these big lakes here. And it was a Sunday. And so he had this like high donor, picked up the call, and he was like, hey, can you do XYZ for me? And he kind of begrudgingly was like, yes, I can do it for you. And so then over the next like 4 hours, he was making all these phone calls, doing all these things, and finally got a hold of somebody, finally got it done. And he was like, I felt so conflicted because like so many people would not have picked up that phone, and I picked up the call. And I got it done, but after hours of like wasting my Sunday to get this done. And I helped him reframe it a little bit, Roberta. I said, well, number one, your family wasn't there. Number two, you did it while you were walking and you were on the lakes. Like, you weren't sitting in an office space. You were getting some fresh air. That was great. This was your top donor, and you did end up getting him across the finish line, which is something to be really, really proud about. You made him happy. So was it a little annoying that it took you so long? Sure. But I actually look at that as a really big win. Now, if you were sitting at the dinner table, it's a little different. You can say, you can maybe not you could screen the call and say, hey, John, I'll get back with you in about 15 minutes, right? It is okay. You don't have to tell them what you're doing. You don't have to apologize.
No.
You don't have to say anything. You could just say, it's those little tiny boundaries that protect your core values to make yourself better. Had he picked up the phone while he was at dinner, setting the standard of being able to call you anytime because you're going to pick up anytime.
Yes.
Don't do it.
And when you give them an excuse, I can't, blah, blah, blah. I'm at dinner. I'm at my kids. I'm whatever. Now you're offering them to say that they think it's okay or not. I don't do that either.
No.
I'm not available right now. Can I? Or I don't answer until I'm ready, or it's in the set hours. I used to drive myself crazy with that in the mortgage business because they were trying to help us not work all the time. So, set your hours. Do you work on Sunday? Do you work in the evenings? If you need to, just figure it out and stick to it. And I could never quite stick to it. So I ended up just being all over the place. But then I was working when I said I wouldn't. And then it was just always such a disaster because I would set the boundaries and then immediately break them. Like, I'm not working on this vacation. Always worked on vacation.
What made you break your boundaries?
Feeling like some of it was I would tell myself nobody else will take care of this if I don't. I don't want my clients to feel like I'm better than them. It was a lot of proving myself. It was a lot of, if I don't work 10 times harder, then they're going to leave me and go somewhere else. I also advertised that I worked harder than everybody else. And so they were like, hey, you said you worked harder than everybody else.
Is that something to be proud of, though?
I don't do it anymore. And I definitely coach my clients. Like, don't advertise something you don't want to do because you think there's no other way you can get clients. Because if you think there's no other way you can get clients than sacrificing yourself, then we have a different problem.
Absolutely.
It's a worthiness problem.
Absolutely.
It's a worthiness issue. And that's what my issue was. It was a complete worthiness issue.
Absolutely.
Because there were people around me who were setting boundaries. One of the most successful guys I know in the mortgage business, he set hard boundaries and he did not break them. Okay. And he's still in sales.
One defining factor. I hate to say it.
It's easier for a guy in that regard.
It's a man. It's a man who has the audacity to do it because he knows he'll be okay either way. So we have to have the audacity to do the things in our masculine energy because we know we'll be okay. We're actually more respected on the other side of that.
Yes.
We're so rooted in fear. Here's a fascinating fact. 80%, it's probably more than that now, 80% of human beings have a fear of rejection. So every single action that we're taking, whether it be mentally, physically, emotionally, every single action that we take is rooted in this fear of being rejected. You said it. Of every single reason that you took a call, during a vacation was because of your fear for rejection.
Absolutely.
Of rejection. And I was the same way, Roberta. I was the same way. I was never present during my vacations, ever.
Yeah.
My husband was like, Jen, please, please, my kids pulling my arm, please, please, please. But I was such a top performer. I used to work in LA for years. And I mean, if you are not working at the top of your level, somebody was going to sweep under you and take over. And so I had these very neurotic habits, these tendencies, again, mixed with this, I only do things that bring me joy.
Right.
Yeah, correct. So as much as I like taught myself these ways to root myself in gratitude, these ways to live my life, I guess holistically, intrinsically, I also had this weird childhood trauma that was mixed in with that pushed me to perform at a very high level. And again, this is just about 2 years ago that everything just broke. And I said, I had to make a choice. I had to make a decision. I said, how do I want to live? How do I want to be? I still want to perform high. I still want to achieve. I would love to go be an Inc. 5000 company. Do I need to do it in 6 months? Do I need to do it in a year? Is that going to bring me joy? And so, even with this book, I've been talking about this book for 2 years, but I'm like, I'm okay with watching a show with my husband tonight and not working. Yeah. I'm okay with it. I'm okay.
And it was all a choice. And that was the thing. One of the things that at the end of the day really, I won't say broke me, but like just allowed me to let go. It's like, you are choosing this. And if you can't bring yourself to unchoose it and you hate it, you need to figure out why. Like what's going on here? And then it all came back to worthiness and love and belonging. And once I came into my own worthiness and my own love and belonging, rejection never feels great, but it's okay. Sometimes it feels good. There are certain people that I love it when they don't like me, but
oh gosh. I am a massive rejection overcomer for sure. For sure. Yeah. I mean, for years, especially being bullied as a kid and on my own at 18, I desperately wanted people to like me. And even still, I play these narratives in my head of like just ridiculous things. And I have to tell myself every day, people want to see me succeed. People want to support me. Nobody's out there like waving a hate flag at Jen Gomez, but it's these stories that we tell ourselves because of it's how we are. We have to undo a lot of the trauma, undo a lot of the things. And it's so corny, but the first thing is recognizing that something is triggering you. Something is holding you back from your greatness. Something is holding you back from your joy. Once you identify that, then you get to start uncovering a little bit more. And I mean, there's tons of people that do like trauma work out there. And I don't think everybody needs trauma work. Some people more than others. And I've definitely had clients where I'm like, I can only help so much. Right. Absolutely. Be a professional and they do. But I think you said this earlier, the number one step is connecting with yourself so that you can connect with others. And finding joy for yourself is enabling you to put joy out into the world, into your team, into your family, into your business. And joy is not a feeling. It is a state of being. Like we both say, it fosters innovation. It fosters curiosity. It fosters this energy of enlightenment. We may have talked about this before, like on the pillar of American psychology, at the very, very top
Maslow's.
It's enlightenment, and right underneath it is joy. And so when we think about joy, as far as like human psychology, it should be pretty high up there to enlightenment. It is not some like happiness. I'm bursting from the outside. It is really this internal glow, this internal hue that magnetically attracts people to you, magnetically attracts opportunities to you, because you have no fear. You have no worry. You have no qualms with.
You've got nothing to prove.
You have nothing to prove. And I think that's why, not to take this religious, but that's why a lot of people correlate joy with religion, because they kind of, if you've ever heard the term, give it up to God, right? They give everything up to God. And if you're not religious and you don't want to give it up to a higher power, you have to give it up to yourself. You have to say, or the universe, or whatever it is, you have to release all of that you've been holding on to so that you can come to this state of calm and steadiness.
Absolutely. The Buddhists say the attachment is the cause of all suffering. So when you look at your attachments, why am I so attached to this? Why do I need this to work? Why can I not let down the phone? Why am I so gripping? And I think as women, you can feel it. I know as women, we hold it so hard in our bodies. We grip so hard with our bodies because we're so used to needing to hold on to everything. And once you release it, it goes back to nothing to lose in a good way. It's not nothing to lose like in a movie. It's nothing to lose like I'm okay if this works out or if it doesn't. I'm okay if you like me if you don't. I'd rather you like me. I'd rather it work out, but I'm okay either way because I know what I put into it. I know who I am. I know what I tried. I know why I did it. I know why I said no or yes or whatever. But also just takes the finish line out of it. And we're so used to everything being a finish line. Like you say, well, this person, it was a millionaire 10 times over at 33. And how old are you? I was like, whatever, man. You run for the finish line all you like.
I know. I have another client that's actually just like that. He is, well, so-and-so is at this level and he's this age. And I'm like, okay, but you also just had your second child and you also are at the top of this company. You have so many things. We often are looking out the window instead of looking in the mirror. And so how can we look in the mirror more? And so that's what I've been speaking more on stages about is leadership redefined. How can we really root ourselves intentionally so that we can encourage everybody looking into the mirror instead of out the window? I think we're so fast to point a finger instead of taking the ownership on our own, kind of mixture of a little vulnerability to say, again, bigger picture, how can we make this a more joyful culture? Well, we have to connect with each other, but in order to connect with each other, we have to connect with ourselves.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think comparison can be healthy, but comparison in that regard is a disconnection from self. He's not that person. You're not that person, but we get that pressure. It's normal in these here United States, right? I think it's way easier to disconnect from that than it's seen. Part of it is shutting off social media, shutting off news, getting out of reading books, periodicals, and things that promote until you can see it for what it is and immersing like you're doing in the books that you're reading, the books I'm reading, doing the work to you that's important. Once you do it, you have that influence outwardly, but that's why I go back to my joy is the most important joy. Because if I have it and I'm immersing myself in it, then you're going to get it too. Like you can't keep it to yourself. It's going to go out.
When you do the thing that lights you up the most, it's going to light up the people around you. Absolutely. And regarding social media, I just think it's hilarious, but not in a funny haha way, but like a peculiar way. I think it's hilarious that people continue to consume the things that make them feel the worst. I'm like, that's step one. That is step one. If it's not social media, do what you want, but I want you to take an audit of everything you're consuming, a consumption audit of movies, television, radio, social media. What are you eating? What are you drinking? What do you see? What are you consuming every single day? And can you be so intentional with that consumption to say, does this make me feel good? Does this make me feel not so good? Every single time you consume something that makes you feel not so good, you are dampening your joy. You are dampening your energy. You are putting negativity into your body. And guess where that negativity goes? Outward into your clients, so many business owners. And if you are a business owner listening to this, yes, I'm talking directly to you. There are so many business owners that will put their opinions on their social media. And I'm like, you are killing your brand. You are killing your brand. There's business owners that will screenshot bad reviews and will put their opinion about the bad review on their social media. And I cannot stress this enough. Be the positive joy in your arena, be the positive joy in your orbit so that when people consume anything that you're putting out, they feel good. They don't feel negativity. It really does. It's not about you, but it starts with you. So have a consumption audit for sure. making sure that you are consuming things that make you feel good. And then if you do decide to put your opinion out there, is it going to make someone feel good? Or does it just make you feel good in the moment because you've stood on your soapbox for a minute? Like, nobody cares. Nobody cares. Yeah. Nobody cares about your opinion. Nobody cares about your thoughts on, nobody cares. If anything, you're putting so much negativity out into the world for absolutely no reason. So
absolutely no reason. I agree with you. I totally agree with you. And it's not like you don't have people don't have opinions. I do. It's fun to have opinions, but there are some things that are just it's such a soul suck, right?
But then maybe keep it on your personal page. Keep it on your personal page. Like, don't use your business platform to talk about your opinion. That's my opinion. Like, don't use it because your business consumers, your customers may not have the same opinion as you do. Now, if that's your goal to like cut out the people who don't have the same opinion as you, say your opinion all day long, like niche down your market. Absolutely. But if you're trying to appease a larger market, then opinions need to stay on your personal page, not on your business page.
Quite a bit. But some of it is just the comment section is like, good grief. I'm just so over the comment section. But that's also some of why I just stay off a lot of social media. I do love a good TikTok, but even then, if I'm not, because it's mindless, but you can make it not mindless. And if I'm not careful, I get into some of the opinion stuff and I'm like, yeah, that's right. And the next thing you know, all my feed is these, you're like, okay.
And that's why you have to
because I feel it.
You have to be very real with yourself of, is this triggering me? And sometimes it can feel positive, almost like a righteous positive of like, oh, yeah. But is there some negativity underneath? Yeah, is there some negativity or divisiveness, not decisive, divisiveness on the back end of that? It's really about being real with yourself, being real with who you want to. It goes back to that joy method, right? Who am I? And then where do I want to be? Who do I want to be? And how do I need to get there? It is the easiest thing. Reflect, align, commit. Reflect, align, commit all day, every single day. If you want to stay in joyful alignment, if you want to be the best person that you can be, do the joy method, y'all.
Yes. So speaking of which, I have a free resource available to our listeners. It'll be in the show notes. It's called the Joy First Morning Ritual. Thank you so much for sending that over. I reviewed it. I think it's great. Yay. And it talks about a lot of these things. Like, is this helping me or hurting me? And it's not always about, is this helping my bottom line, like my income? Is this helping my business grow? Is it moving the boat forward? I get all that. But sometimes it's like, how do I want my life to look? Is this helping my life that I just stress myself out over a TV show, over people who aren't even real?
Well, the success will come. Yeah. And the success will come. The success will come because your high performance, your tenacity, your ability to maneuver adversity, it doesn't go away. It's not like it's gone. Roberta, you're still the same high performer who loves a good challenge. Like, that's why you're now an entrepreneur. Like, it's an insane place to be as an entrepreneur. So that hasn't gone away. So your success will come. It's just being mindful of the space before the success. It's that joy needs to come before the success. It's that joy and strategy can live together, but they must be dance partners.
Yes. I love that. That's a great way to put it. And on that note, thank you so much for being here, Jen. How can people find you?
Thank you so much. Okay, so I have a website, jen-gomez.com. And then you can also find me on LinkedIn, Jen Gomez, the Joyful Strategist. Reach out, DM me. I'd love to continue the conversation. And Roberta, it's just been such a gift getting to chat with you about joy as a strategy and a competitive advantage. I just love what you're doing out in the world. So keep on doing it. Thank you all for listening to our joyful conversation today.
So good. All right. Thank you, guys.